Really excited to join you today because I have a special guest that I wanted to spend some time with, Andrea Johansson. And we're going to talk today about an amazing things that happened to her the last couple of weeks about selling in this non-kit world and what that looks like. But she's got some wonderful stories to tell, and I think you're going to learn something from each of the stories she's telling. So pay close attention. Andrea, let me just give you a sense of the background here. I know you wouldn't describe yourself as some huge enroller, and not especially the last couple of weeks and couple of months of this pandemic. Talk to us a little bit about what's going on before we get to the sales story.
Sure, you bet. And good morning, Eric. Thanks for having me on this morning. And I have had slow 18 months, and where I would get some kit sales each month. I would say that within the last 18 months, I had about a handful of kit sales. That's minimal. And I'm really good with following up with current customers. So thankfully that stayed strong, but I lost all of my momentum. And no matter what I was trying, it just wasn't happening.
Wow. So I think everyone that's listening right now could totally relate. There's been such a different period. We always get these stories about these high enrollers. You know, they walk in the room and 3 people buy a kit, or they do a blog and 40 people sign up. And that's just not the normal experience. So I'm really looking forward to hearing the story. Tell us about your first sale, because I know you've had like 4 sales in the last 3 weeks. Tell us about the first one.
So it was amazing because remember I said I'm really strong on follow-up, right? And so I had those people who like to occasionally add to my monthly order. This was one of those people. And I reached out to her and said, hey, it's that time of month. Was there anything that you wanted to add? And she said, no, not really. I'm not using my oils. And this was all via text, okay? Because that's how she works best. And so I just responded back with, totally get it, completely understand. Just keep in mind that we are way more than oils. So if there's something else that you would be interested in as far as supplements or, plant-based cleaning or things like that, let me know and let's chat. She immediately messaged me back and said, do you guys have makeup? Yes, we do. We've never discussed makeup before. I never would have known she was interested in that. And so I said, hey, here's my link. Grab that, look around the site. It's called Savvy Minerals. We talked about a supplement that she needed. So she was definitely getting the supplement. And I didn't give her any information beyond that. I didn't talk about subscribe to save. I didn't talk about ways to unlock your 24% savings with 100 PV order, nothing. 30 minutes later, I get a text message back from her, ordered. And I'm like, what? And this is the beauty of this story. The website did the work. I didn't. She placed 112 PV order. And so she unlocked the 24% savings on her own. And now the conversation is continuing about subscribe to save because, she got her supplement. And I mentioned another one that I knew would resonate with her with Super B for energy. So amazing. That was sale 1.
So what the takeaway for me that was so encouraging is that, so this old world where it was the kits dynamic, you had to spend so much energy on wrapping all of your conversation about all these things that they may or may not need at that moment. And by the way, we had to unlock the value. There's so many good things about the kits, so don't get me wrong about that. But we always had to, basically position this as a huge value offering. Instead, now you actually only talked about what she needed. You didn't expand that. You didn't have to talk about other things. You know that she needs other things, but you didn't have to oversell. You didn't have to overpitch, overposition.
No convincing either. I love the premium starter kits because of the value that they are, which is phenomenal because I'm a value girl. But if it's not value to them, you do a lot of convincing. And I think that's where the struggle was for me at that point in time. So I'm absolutely loving the way the world has opened up for me and for my customers through Subscribe to Save.
Well, this first story is kind of getting me interested now. So I cannot wait to hear. Talk to us about the second story that you had.
Similarly, I reached out to him. He was a man, by the way. Like, I made a personal sale to a man. Okay, awesome. So he would occasionally add to my order. Well, he was more of a regular orderer adding to mine, but had never jumped in with the premium starter kit, even though we talked about it. We had talked about it. And when we started talking about the fact that he wanted a diffuser and a couple of other things, and I presented subscribe to save with him, he's like, oh, well, that makes sense. And that's what I keep hearing over and over again. Well, that makes sense. Yes. And so he said, well, how about I come over? Okay. So we made an appointment and he came to my house, and not only did we put things on subscription, because remember, he's adding to my order regularly. I would rather him be a subscribe to save customer.
Mhm.
And so setting him up for subscribe to save, talking through, we'll need to change it next month. I'll help you with that. But it was great because in sitting with him and having him there with me, well, then it became over 100 PV order, even with a diffuser in it. So he got the free shipping. So in that case, the free shipping was like, oh, well, of course I want free shipping. Let's make that happen. Another element that you could draw out. And I'm loving the free shipping now, where it was a little bit of a challenge in the beginning. It's really become fantastic, and it's a great selling point.
So it was really cool. So the first sale, you didn't talk about subscribe to save at all. And then the second one, it was you had a regular customer who was really a rather minor regular customer, but didn't fully understand the value of ER during that time period. Now change the name, amplify the program a little bit, the free shipping to what you described, and all of a sudden there's an interest level just in that program alone. I was on Amazon only yesterday changing my subscriptions, and I'm going, wait a second, this is so similar now, and there's so much benefit. So I really encouraged that. I really encouraged. But what was it like selling to a guy, right? So I know we just focus on just a different experience.
It totally was. But for him, to your point, and with the others that we're going to talk about, the subscription aspect was like, oh, well, that's a no-brainer. It's familiar. It's something that they are already aware of. And so when you bring it into this space, then it makes total sense. And so for a guy who is very matter of fact and, no frills, whatever, just tell it to me like it is kind of thing, it just made sense. Again, it made sense for the fact that it was familiar, the fact that it was easy, because now he's, doesn't have to think about it, and he can get it delivered directly to his door. Like plus he gets the money savings aspect of he's going to be earning points. So now where points didn't make sense on essential rewards, points make sense on subscription with loyalty rewards.
Right. And it's just interesting, already an existing customer who's changing his buying pattern because of the way that the program has changed. So I love that the first story was short and focused, and it was just about someone who you've been following up forever, wanted to buy. But the second one was someone who had been a customer, but a relatively small customer, having his mindset change so that he could see the new potential of the subscription to save program. Well, you definitely have us going now. Talk to us about the third sale.
So the third sale, and this is where I want to hone in on get outside of young living world and engage in the passions of your heart, because this is someone who I'm connected with somewhat through church, but she's coming regularly to our worship gatherings. And so she's engaging with us that way. She's in her home while I'm diffusing. She knows what I'm doing, right? Because I integrate young living into every aspect of my life. So she reached out to me and she said, hey, do you have something with GABA? I'm like, don't know what GABA is, but let me do some research and get back to you. And long story short, it ended up where she said, hey, can we talk about this before worship? And I'm like, too many moving parts at that point. And I set an appointment with her. Now, again, we connected over a common passion. She wanted to come feed the farm animals with me that I feed on a regular basis. So come on over, let's do the feed together, and then we'll head back up to the house, which is exactly what we did. So it's all of this life integration in different places. And as we sat down and we talked through meeting what her personal needs were, and I had her smell some different oils, with the other individual, didn't smell a thing, nothing. This one, we sat and we went through and she tried different things. We had our wish list and I said, okay, so based on your budget, where do you feel comfortable? I can help you get started. And I used a lot of the script that I had posted in OTG from the 5 key tips. And so I had laid it out to her, hey, if this is something that you would like to purchase, you can, but you don't feel you need to do that, and I'm botching it right now, but look at that script, it's brilliant. But at that point, she said, well, this is what I want. And I put it in her cart and it went up to 224 PV. I'm like, okay. And I said,
What?
hey, just so you know, and I didn't think she would hit 100 PV. And she's on subscribe to save, because once you hit 190, you want that luscious lemon this month. So put that in there as subscribe to save for sure. And I said, hey, you are so close to the 250 PV level. This is what you would get for free. Is that something that you want to add one of these other oils on your list into? Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. And it came out to a 258 PV order based on what she specifically wanted versus 100 PV that I would have gotten from a premium starter kit.
What I love about the story also is you resisted the the temptation of it being a shallow transaction. So when she wanted to just do real quick, hey, I'm gonna order some things right before you're going to have service, which you could have done, but it would have been fragmented. It would have been distracted. You might have made a mistake. I mean, it just didn't feel good to you. But more importantly, when you got a chance to with her, there's a depth of relationship involved.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're actually able to ask those questions that are more penetrating. What's really going on with you? How can I help? Being able to explain not just the benefits of the program, but where she was. I mean, you helped her be a better shopper because you were with her. And I think it's so powerful because this, if you will, not just the relationship was a little bit deeper, but the depth of the transaction was deeper, so that it was more meaningful, it was more impactful. Not only did she get more things that's going to help her and her family, but she actually was a better shopper and a wise shopper along the way. So cool. Well, talks about this last sale.
So the last one was a reactivation. And when I reactivated her, I was kind of stunned because it said last order 64 months ago. Holy cow. Okay.
I
But
think
in the
that's
meantime,
5 years.
something like that. In the meantime, she had actually been getting a bottle of thieves from me on a regular basis. And so she, again, because I'm consistent, because I do follow up, she reached out to me and she said, hey, I'm desperate for thieves. Can I put it in your order this month? Yeah, absolutely. And happy to do that. But I want to let you know that Young Living has introduced this new thing. And I talked to her briefly about subscribe to save. And I said, you can go ahead, rather than PayPaling me every month to do this for you, you have this option. And just again, through brief texting back and forth, we reactivated her through subscribe to save with one bottle of thieves that she is receiving every other month. So each of these stories have been entirely different. And it's been amazing to see how it's played out.
Well, I like also this last one, Andrea, because the other ones, there were some of them were in person. Gosh, great job, Andrea, but I can't do these things in person. There's no one near me. This last one was by text. And also, it wasn't the one that was over the top in terms of how large it was. It was someone that was reactivating after 5 years, just getting a bottle of thieves. Let's start there. Let's start there. Let's get you back, plugged back in, and get you going again. So you've had 4 sales in 3 weeks from someone who already said, it wasn't been quite like that the last 18 months.
And I'm in process of a 5th one. And
Well,
just
wait,
that
you're
to
in process of
finish.
the 5th one. How could you have another one coming?
Because she got shampoo and conditioner from me in my last order last month. And in checking back with her on the farm, okay, met up with her on the farm. Hey, how's that going? What are you thinking about the shampoo and conditioner? How's that working out for you? Oh, it's great. Hey, do you guys happen to have facial cleanser? Yes, we do. And, just want to throw out there, if that's what you're trying to deal with for Orange Blossom, because she's got some acne, wanted to make sure to tell her about the acne treatment cream and the charcoal face mask that I love in charcoal bar soap. So, and she has my link, and I have no doubt that sale is happening this month. I mean, we connect at the farm all the time.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. It just feels like there's just been this big shift of momentum in the way you're even talking about it.
I'm excited again, Eric. This is fun again. And that's what I'm loving. The momentum has picked up, but it's fun. And not only again, but on a whole new level, because I feel like more than ever before, I'm focused on those that I'm speaking with and their needs and meeting those. And they're walking away feeling like they've been heard, they've been well cared for. And like, I see so much more longevity with each of these people. Only one of them so far is not unsubscribe to save. And I plan on that happening this month with her because she wants regular supplements.
Yeah.
So this opens that door to that lifestyle component that we've been trying to talk to people about for so long. And again, it's just fun. It's so much fun. I'm accomplishing my vision of love others well and empower them to do the same.
I know that you're a queen of follow-up. And I know that let's talk about the dry months just for a second, because there's a concept of having faith, and then there's the concept of having faith realized. And so in those dry months, you would be sitting going, momentum's going to change, right? But let's get real, it did not.
Nope.
And so, but it was going to impact your faith, but the reality was still the reality. So every month would go by, it's going to change. It's going to change. It's changing. Momentum's changing. But then this month, it actually did.
Yeah.
And you just, it was so exciting. When we were talking the other day, when we heard about this and what led to our interview, it's just so exciting to see your countenance change and to recognize, I mean, for Eric, since I talked to you, I have another one in the pipeline. What? It's just so much fun to hear that shift of momentum. And what's really cool about this is this new world that we're in. And this is why we're doing this interview for everybody on OTG. We wanted to really share with people the one from a 250 PV order to the one that was more like 30 PV, there's no rules or requirements here. You just have to be able to help people where they're at. And I think for me, that was one of the biggest takeaways. If you had to summarize what your biggest takeaway from this last 3 weeks, how would you describe it?
I think I've actually touched on most of them, because it is this aspect that this is so much easier because people are familiar with subscribe to save, or not subscribe to save, but subscription. So that makes what used to be an obstacle, there's no hurdle. They're like, oh, I'm familiar with that. It's normal to them. And so because it's normal to them and you're specifically meeting their needs, this process is so much easier than it ever was. And that makes it really easy to regain your momentum, to kick the discouragement to the side, because in those dry months, it was grit that got me through, to be very honest, because I was just as discouraged as the next person. And so I was determined to not give up. And I continued with my follow-up and caring for people. And what has been produced from that is a whole new set of momentum, renewed excitement in me, and truly having fun in this business again, loving what I do.
Great summary. And I at OTG, I really hope that you hear the experience side, the emotional side of what Andrea has gone through before and after. But also, so importantly, the reason we wanted to do this is what's going on with our world today with the new shopping platform, the new subscription to save program, how that's actually changing the way that we can interact with customers, potential customers, some older customers, some 5-year-old customers that are reactivating. I really want to encourage you, if you want to reach out to Tammy or to Andrea, go ahead and do that. But in the meantime, just look at what you have in front of you and what could change about the way you interact with people. I really want to encourage you to get after it. Andrea, thank you so much for being on with us today. I'm so excited. Cannot wait to hear the full 5th story. And by the way, one of many to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.
See you soon.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.